Hey guys, welcome to Hams Radio. I am Hams. If you are new to my channel is all about finding a life after trauma. I will be showing the good, the bad, and the ugly when it comes to my own healing journey in hopes that it will help you in yours. If that sounds like something that would add positivity to your life, I encourage you to hit the subscribe button down below. Hit the bell so you don't miss out when I'm putting out new videos. I do want to maybe throw this out before I get started. If you are somebody who is already pretty worried about me, you probably don't want to watch this video because of my plans and what I'm going to be sharing here. It'll probably just make you worry more, and you may not want to put yourself through that. So there's that. I do want to mention again my blog, hamsradio.com, where again it's just an outlet for me to express anything when maybe I am unable to make a video. And I know some people prefer reading over watching, so that gives another way to experience what I'm doing, and you don't have to necessarily watch a video. So what I wanted to share today was something that I'm doing that is purposely challenging the paranoia that I talked about in my last video. So I'm consciously challenging it, and here's what's going on. I'm not going to Goa anymore on Monday like I said I was going to. I'm just not going to go because I'm going to take a trip to the countryside with, three strangers. And I know that sounds maybe a little weird, but here's what happened. I'm at the hostel, right? I'm in a new hostel right now, but the one I recorded the last video in, that hostel. At that hostel, and I had been hanging out with a couple of the guys that I had met previously at the hostel. And there were two new guys that ended up showing up, and they're locals. They're from India, and they're from a town more north from where I'm at, New Delhi right now. And they've invited me and two other people from the hostel to go hang out and go see their hometown and see the countryside, which is fantastic. These are the connections and stories that I've read about, by people saying going traveling, and they get this interpersonal experience, this really personal experience with people if you're just open to it. But there's with the paranoia, there's a fear that it's part of a scam. Again, I'm gonna get conned, or somehow to make a fool out of us. So that is a fear that I am consciously aware of that I have. But I've decided to do it anyways, because I think what I would be giving up if their intentions were good is too much to not risk it. So I realized with my paranoia, I could just be seeing this all wrong. So I'm going to trust the fact that in the past I've made similar decisions, not for similar reasons. I've taken risks in my life, and things have just worked out because I think people are just generally going to be good. So I'm going to go off the fact that multiple times in my past, when I have made shady decisions, it turned out pretty okay because most people tend to do the right thing, at least in my experience. So I am just going to act as if I 100% believe that these two guys are just showing hospitality and showing us around. And it's me and two other guys that were invited. So it's not like it's only girls or anything like that, because I've thought all of that through. So I feel comfortable because one of the guys is actually going to be there for a day and a half before I even get there. And I'm going my entire stay. I will be with this other guest who's at the hostel. So it's not like I'm ever going to be on my own. It wasn't arranged to get me out there alone or anything like that. So I have thought through all of that. So that's why I am going to take this trip out to the countryside with 4 strangers, and hope for the best, because from my experience, good things happen and people are good. So regardless of the paranoia that I have about scam, con, I'm taken advantage of, made a fool or anything like that, I think that is worth the risk. Like, I'd be able to handle that pretty well now. Like, that's not something I fear. If it ends up being that, okay, like, I'll be able to handle it. But if it's not, if this is genuine hospitality, oh my God, like, this will be amazing. And like, we hung out all day yesterday, and like, it was just nice, and everyone was just talking about just everything, and like, just getting along, even though like there are some language barriers and stuff, but like, we're getting along, and we're talking, and we're sharing, and we're getting to know other people's views and customs and perspectives. And I'm loving it, because I'm learning so much about just the people around me. And it's just little nuances that you wouldn't really have even thought about unless you show that there is a different way. And this is like really, really insignificant. But one thing that I wouldn't even think about is like the keyholes. A lot of them are flipped upside down. Well, to me, what I would have said upside down is their way of putting the keyhole in is the opposite of what I am used to. It is not backwards, it's just different, and I try to make sure that I am not trying to label, oh, that's different, or that's wrong, or that's bad, it's different. It's not good, bad, worse, better. It is just a different way of doing things. So that is the mindset that I have brought here, and it's just interesting to see the nuances of a different culture. Like I said, something I never would have thought about, the keyhole just being turned the other way, and that was just that's just how most doors are here. So it's realizing little things like that. It's super cool. So I'm loving my time here. And so I leave tomorrow, Easter, Sunday night, and I will arrive there at like 11:45 at night, and they'll pick us up, and we'll stay somewhere around his hometown, like near the airport, and then we're gonna go like he said there was like a shift change between India and like Pakistan, like guard change. There's a golden temple that he said he was gonna bring all of us to, and just share with us his culture and his town and everything. And I find that like super just exciting. Like, I get to just learn, broaden my view of the world, broaden my because the more my view is broadened, the more empathy I have, the more compassion I have, the more I just want to just witness a culture, and I'm not placing this view of how I think culture should be on top of it. I know if you read my blog, I talked about, and I don't remember which one, but I talked about how I was reflecting back on most of my time there, how I wasn't appreciating the culture because I was still seeing Cusco, the city of Cusco in Peru. I was still seeing the city through my Americanized, my westernized like view. Like, I was still putting my perspective over it, and was noticing where things didn't match up. And to be honest, it was like, it threw me off. It gave me anxiety because it was something I didn't know. Like, I wasn't familiar with this. It wasn't in the cookie cutter shit that I learned, you know? So, but I had difficulty in Peru to actually see the city. But now I'm able to appreciate what is. I'm not trying to make it fit into what I think it should be. And it's, Okay.
No?
No.
You with permission?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, sorry. I'm doing laundry and like the caretaker of it's an Airbnb I think I'm in. The caretaker of the Airbnb just let me know that my clothes are done and that he's going to go hang them outside. So, yeah. So yeah, just seeing what is, appreciating the culture for what it is, not for what it's not doing, because that's what I'm used to. And it's been phenomenal. The change in my appreciation is like my appreciation for meeting new people and seeing different cultures has skyrocketed since dropping a lot of the cookie cutter pattern that I was putting over everything. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. I love it. Sorry that knock really threw me off, but I just wanted to share that because this is also a way for me to document for myself and talk things through. So even though it may worry people, which is why I gave the disclaimer at the beginning, even though it might worry people, this is the way I am processing. So I'm going to stick to it because it's what works for me, and I'm going to do this trip because I do believe people are generally good and have good intentions. So I'm going to put my words to the test, and yeah. But I'm really looking forward to it. Yeah, I don't know, I just feel change happening inside of me, and I just feel like good change happening. I had an interaction with my friend that I'm actually meeting in India, and like the conversation just went so well that I was super just like happy at the way I reacted to it. And here's what happened. This is the same friend I would have talked about or wrote about, I may have talked about it, but at least wrote about in blog number 2. He is the friend that I met in Peru going to Rainbow Mountain, and I had to cancel dinner because he had changed the time like by 15 minutes. And the last minute changes in plan for me would trigger that abandonment fear like a lot. Like it really, 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 really triggered it. And at that point, and this is back in, I don't know, January, February. So it really triggered that for me. And like back then, it didn't matter what the reason was. Like the reason back then was a reasonable reason, but I knew it just triggered more for me. So back then it didn't matter what the reason was. I still got triggered and I still had to do something about it. What happened this time is, so the plan was he was gonna arrive today and then he would leave tomorrow night. So we would have roughly a little over 24 hours to catch up, hang out, whatever. He messaged me this morning saying, I'm so sorry. I'm a fool. I actually leave tonight and not tomorrow night. And in that moment, all I felt was what he might have felt, because I imagined myself in his position having to tell me that he fucked up on dates. So instead of my immediate reaction was not, how does this affect me? How inconvenient. I was not mad at all. I wasn't upset. I wasn't anything. My natural reaction was to empathize with him immediately. And be okay with that. I was completely I would say 100% okay. There was not a hesitation, a grasp, nothing that I felt when he told me that. I did think, oh, bummer. Like, I was looking forward to that. But it wasn't, I did not hold anything against him. I didn't feel like I was being abandoned. None of that was triggered. And I don't know if it was because he was so understanding last time that I felt safe enough, or I trusted him then in that instant that it wasn't me, it was him, like it just wasn't me, and I didn't take it personally. Or that would I respond that way to anybody? So I just thought that was very interesting, very, very interesting. And one, I told him, you are not a fool. We have all done shit like that, mixed up dates, traveled, relayed misinformation because you got stuff jumbled, especially when traveling. Shit is not easy trying to keep dates in line and stuff like that all the time, especially when it comes to flights, man. I have misread flights. Like, I have misread dates so much. Like, this weekend, I accidentally booked a hostel starting today when I knew I wouldn't be anywhere until Monday. So 2 days early, I booked a hostel because I messed dates up. So it happens. And so I told him, one, you are not a fool. Everyone, this happens to everyone, literally. And I told him it literally just happened to me this weekend. So, and he said, thank you for not making me feel more stupid. And yeah, he had given me a book last time we saw each other. And I kind of repeated back a couple of things from the book, which was, what did I say? Talking about situations when they don't go right, when they don't go the way you plan it. You have like learning how and remembering to let go of the expectations you had of the moment, of the situation, of the person, or whatever. Oh my God. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. Okay, so you gotta let go, right? Sorry, this was a good one too. If you hang on for a little bit longer, I'll be able to remember it. But, when something goes wrong, letting go of your expectations that you had in the moment, right? It's those should statements. It should have gone this way. They should have done this. I should have done this. It should have gone this way. Let go of that. Start to appreciate each moment as it is. Accept what is. Let go of your expectations and accept what is without trying to change it, without trying to manipulate it. Just let shit be what it is. Just let it go. And then what you can do is still acknowledge, okay, like that's not something I planned for, or that's not something I expected to happen, but there's two things you can do in these situations. One, you can look for lessons learned, whether it's you end up missing a flight. Okay, what happened prior to missing the flight that caused me to miss my flight? Is there a behavior that I can do to reduce the risk of missing my flight, right? So try to find why that bad thing happened, or learn something from that bad thing, right? So take a lesson from it as to why it happened, or because it happened, what can you learn? The second one is opportunities that present itself because of whatever bad thing happened. And I'll go back to my situation with my friend right now. Even though we have 24 hours less than we thought we were going to have to catch up, even though that just gives me, like, if he leaves tonight, that gives me tomorrow to continue to read, to smoke, to watch my YouTube channels, because I do watch YouTube when it comes to more, just sometimes, just I watch YouTube. Right now I'm watching a Diary of a CEO with Stephen Bartlett, and he's talking to the guy that wrote the book, How to Subtly Not Give a Fuck or something like that. So, like, I'm watching more videos to learn about the brain, but opportunities that present themselves. What can I do? What can I get out of this time that I'm no longer going to have with Andrew? What can I do instead? How can I take advantage of the time that I now have? Instead of viewing it as, now I don't get that much time with Andrew, I can't catch up, the whole hour, a whole day less. Like, I could focus on that, but like, it doesn't matter. Like, I'm still just as excited to see him and super glad that I have a few hours with him. Regardless, if our time did get cut short, that does not bother me. Like, I get it and I understand it. And when I told Andrew that I was like, no worries, like, I'm good, like, 100% is true. I can say that with 100% honesty. There was nothing. So nothing to say otherwise that happened. Usually there's a little, like a squeeze in the middle of my chest if something feels not true, or if I get triggered even slightly, regardless of what happened. Like, if I get triggered, regardless if it's a friend or whatever, good intentioned or not, I'm still being triggered. I still have to deal with that trigger, even though it may not make sense in the present moment, you know? So yeah. A little bit more. I really like this room. So I kind of looked for reasons to make another video so I can make a video in this room because I really, really like it. Right now, so yeah, that's my plan, is to go to the countryside with four guys that I met at the hostel. And then the guy that I'm spending the entire trip with from the hostel, we both are staying till Wednesday, and then I have no plans. I don't know what I'm doing after Wednesday, but we'll do that. So that's the plan. So, and I just wanted to put out, if there's anything that I'm talking about that really resonates with you and you want me to, like, go more in depth, or you have a question about something I've said, or a question about anything really that I could answer, I would love to hear from you. If you drop the questions down in the comments, or you can email me at hamsradio@gmail.com. Yeah, I think it's that. And if you don't want to, like, leave a comment, you can always email me, and I can just say, this is a question I got from somebody. Like, stay anonymous if you want. Other than that, I hope everyone's doing well, and I appreciate the feedback I already get. I really, really do. Any kind of feedback allows me to take another look at myself. So any kind of feedback helps me learn something about myself. So any comments will help me. So feel free to tell me anything. All right. Have a good one. Until next time.